Welcome back, my friends, to another video of the Patriotic Pickup. Today is the day. Probably not going to get it completely painted today, but going to get started on it. First thing to do is I'm going to go along and remove the pieces that I can remove that I want to protect. Go along, tape off the things that I don't want to try to peel off and then stick back on. I'm going to take the mirrors off, tape around the windows, the locks, the handles, things like that. Tape around here. So a lot of taping, a lot of removing, and then we're going to get to sanding it. I'm going to just do, I'm going to sand some by hand, but on these, like the hood and the sides, the larger pieces, I'm going to use a random orbital sander, 220 grit. That might be, I'm not trying to get it down to bare metal. I'm just trying to clean it off and score it so that the new paint will adhere. Little spots like this that have rust on them, I'll hit a little bit harder to try to get the rust off. There and then there. I don't have any primer. I'm not gonna worry about that. I'm just gonna go over it with the paint that I have, and I'm not looking for showroom quality. I'm just trying to get it, painted how I want it. I can always touch it up later, 2 or 3 years down the road. If something messes up, I can redo it. This pinstripe, I'm just gonna end up painting over. I think it's a reflective material, but I'm not gonna try to scrape that off. I'm not gonna try to tape it off or anything. I'm just gonna paint over it. I'm not gonna bother taking the bed off and trying to paint behind the cab. I'll just get as far as I can with the rollers and brushes that I have, try to cover what I can. The door jamb, I might do a little bit with that with a brush. I don't know. It's not going to be perfect, but as long as from the outside, as long as you don't look too closely at some of these cracks in here, it's like, oh, there's still red in there. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to paint the outside, really. I don't know. We'll see what I feel like doing. I am going to remove this and then tape off the windshield. I bought some what's it called, windshield and glass sealant that I'm going to use to try to run it along the top up there to seal it, because it does leak on the inside. I'll do probably a separate video on that, so I'll go ahead and remove that though. Anyway, let me start taping and removing, and I'll bring you back. Something worth pointing out, I think, when I took the chrome wheel well accent, whatever you call it, off on the passenger front, all of these screws were kind of a generic pan head screw like that. All the rest of them, they had this flange on them. So I'm guessing, considering this is also the side that has, for some reason, thicker whatever right there. I mean, it still sounds like metal though. I don't know, but maybe the side got damaged or something at one point, and then they replaced the screws, but they had to get some regular hardware store kind like that instead of those. I don't know, but I just figured it was worth pointing out. Alright, here I am a few hours later, washing the truck. My plan is to go ahead and get all the dust off of it that I created today from sanding it, and then tomorrow, after it dries overnight, tomorrow I'll wipe it down with some alcohol, make sure it's completely clean, and then start painting it. I don't know if I'll get the whole thing done tomorrow. I doubt it. but I want to at least get the front part blue. Maybe I'll do the stripes. I need to get some stencils or figure out exactly how I want to do the stars, but I at least want to get it halfway done tomorrow. And also, this is the first time I've washed this truck, so although I did notice that when I was sanding it earlier, it was getting a lot of grime off of it. I didn't see any point in washing it, then sanding it, and then washing it again. I probably could have done that. It might have made it easier to sand. I don't know, but I think I did a good enough job. But now I just want to get it clean and then ready to be painted tomorrow. Well, I think it's time to tuck it in for the night. And I'll pick it back up tomorrow, and I'm hoping that I can get some paint on it. Good night. Alright, it's the next day, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to wipe it down with rubbing alcohol, make sure there's no oils on it. And then what I figure I'll do is I'll start with the cracks. I'll open the hood, do the inside of the hood and the front cowl there, and then close the hood, move on to like these edges here. I'll be getting with a brush, try to get inside there, get around, tape these off, get around there, and then open the door up, do around the door, the inside and the door, both sides, get all that, and then move on to getting as far in. Well, I can get that with a roller, but then just getting around things with the brush. Then once I get it all kind of outlined or whatever, then I'll come back with the roller and just get the rest. I might end up taking this off eventually and painting it so that I can actually get in there better. Actually, I'm gonna do that anyway. Alright, but first, and I'm gonna wipe it down in stages. I'll go ahead and I'll just wipe down what I'm about to work on instead of wiping down the whole thing and then not getting to finish it today and having to come back the tomorrow or sometime and finish. I'll just wipe down what I'm about to work on. I'll just do it in small sections. Alright, here we go. Alright, one coat done, and I do have some other parts that I need to come back and get, but I plan on taking this piece off completely anyway and painting it separate. That way I can get it better, and I also need to clean under it anyway. But this is one coat, and now I'm gonna let it dry and do another coat. Here we are the next night. The paint is dry, and it definitely feels very plasticky, I guess because of the enamel paint. And I'm guessing painting in spring is not the best idea because of pollen. So I'm gonna have to clean this off again fairly. Focus. I'm gonna have to clean this off again fairly well before I do another coat. What I'm gonna do, I like to do now, is I'm going to start taping, measuring the bed for the stripes. I want red at the top and bottom, 5 stripes, so red, white, red, and I measured the bed. Now it won't focus on the bed. Come on. Okay. I measured the bed yesterday, and it's 30 inches from the top to the bottom. So 30 divided by 5 is 6. So the first stripe would be just below this pinstriping on the side. So that'd be the first red stripe, and then a white, then a red. Then the white would be around this bumper thing, accent piece, and then red on the bottom. And you're out of focus again. Come on. Thank you. So yeah, what I plan on doing is taping more of this off. I need to tape back there. Tape this off, measure, make some lines, and then possibly go ahead and put the tape on for the stripes. And then it's supposed to rain tomorrow and the next day. And then after that, it's supposed to be clear for a couple days. So I can get the stripes painted, and then this coming weekend go back and recoat the blue and then recoat the stripes this coming weekend. And then I'll just need to do the stars, which I need to come up with a stencil or make a stencil, buy a stencil, something, which in my picture is very shiny, very, very shiny. In the picture I have 3 stars along here, and they're about as wide as this, so that's about 6 inches, so maybe a 6-inch star. So it was 3 down that side, and then I think there was 5 across all the way to the front of the truck. And so a 6-inch star like there, and then there was one in the front here. Don't know, I don't really have room to put one down here, but we'll just have to see once I get a stencil made and start actually visualizing it actually on the truck instead of just going by that picture that I made, that I photoshopped. Then I can actually see how I want the stars placed, where I want them and everything. I think it'll still work. I may not get them. I think in the picture I have some going across the bottom. I may not do that. I might just do up here like on the door. This is very shiny. I mean, considering how dull the paint was when it was red, and then I just used a roller and rolled on this blue paint here, it's much, much, much more reflective. I was not expecting it to be this reflective. I knew it was gloss, but I was not expecting it to be this reflective. I like it, but I also don't like it. I was expecting it to be a little bit more matte. Well, not matte, but whatever. Anyway, I still like it. It's very reflective. A very nice. I mean, I just used a paint roller and rolled this on. I mean, you can definitely see texture. Maybe not so much up here. And there's definitely texture on the paint. But I have no problem with that. I mean, that I was expecting. Of course, the hood isn't as... Yeah, it is. It's just as reflective. It's just reflecting kind of a blank underside of a carport. Anyway, so I'm still going to take this piece off and paint it separately. That way I can get down in there better and easier. Where I painted in the joints turned out well, and also up here, you can still see a little bit of red. Still see a little bit of red. Somewhere you can still see a little bit of red. Anyway. Overall, I'm pleased with how it's going. trying to think of anything else I'd like to do. Eventually, maybe get a little hood ornament, an eagle or something. On video, this looks very yellow, but I can tell you it's not a yellowish cast. That's just from the lighting and the camera. And then also, I want to do like a flag here, so dividing it into fourths like that. Have this upper left corner blue with stars, and then the stripes at the bottom and the top right. So make that a flag. I don't know if I'll see if I'm getting anything re-chromed down the road or not. I'd probably wait and do that after I replace the engine. After I do an engine swap and actually put a better, stronger engine in it, then maybe I can eventually... I might just need to clean this up. I didn't really scrub it the other day when I was... Yeah, that's kind of cleaning up. I didn't scrub it when I was washing the rest of the truck. That's probably all it needs. Anyway, this is just a little update. Alright, throughout the course of the week, it ended up getting a lot of pollen on it, so I just gave it another bath, cleaned it off really well. I used some dish soap to make sure that, again, there's no oils or grease on it or anything, and then, so it'll dry overnight, and then tomorrow I can finish the prep work, do the second coat of blue, start painting the bed, and then maybe the day after I can do the second coat on the bed. Or it might have to be the day after that, depending on how long it takes to dry. Okay, I just got all the screws out that's holding this cowl, whatever you call it, on. The smaller ones, there were 4 of them going across the middle. They were 7mm, and then there was one large one on each side that was 13mm. Now I just need to get the wiper blades off, and then I can pull this off. To get the wiper blades off, you pull the wiper blade up, and then there's a little hole on each side. Take a little, either an Allen wrench or a piece of wire, stick it through to kind of hold it in place. And these, some of them have a little lock that is disengaged when you pull the wiper up like that, but these just have that little clip there that holds the wiper blade onto the output shaft. Now to get the other one. And now with the hood up again, I should be able to just lift this up and pull it out, but I am going to have to disconnect the sprayer for the windshield wipers. I don't know exactly how it'll be underneath there, but I do know that I'll have to disconnect it. And there we have it off. Unfortunately, in the process of trying to disconnect the line for the washer sprayer, I ended up breaking the plastic, so I will see about, well, I'm going to replace it. Don't worry. It was old anyway. And now we can see all the wonderful dirt that it has collected over the life of the truck underneath. So I'm starting to think I should have done this before I washed it again, but I'll just clean that out as best as I can, and then I can just wipe it down with some rags to make sure there's no dirt on the paint. Anyway. Okay, I just ended up hosing her down again. Sprayed off all of the nesting material that was in here, all the dirt, all the leaves, and everything, and then I went did a little bit more. I sprayed inside a little bit. Probably should have disconnected the battery, but I didn't. I'm not going to start it back now. I'm going to leave it over here for the night, let it completely dry, and pick this back up tomorrow. So, in other words, good night for now. So in the process of trying to come up with the best way to have consistent, even lines, the best thing I could come up with was, instead of trying to measure from here with a tape measure down, because I wouldn't be able to get a consistent placement here on the curve, I figured since the inside of the sides of the bed on this side and the other side are fairly straight for the most part, just hooking the tape measure around and using that as my straight edge, clamping it on, and then measuring down. So I know from about here, somewhere along in here, 6 inches would be down to here, which with the tape measure going over the top would put it at about maybe 8 1/4 is about what I measured. So then just going based on that, I can then measure the stripes down, and then I'll move this clamp and the tape measure down a couple feet, mark it again, move it down a couple more feet, mark it again, and then until I get to the very end, and I can mark it, and then I'll get a straight edge and put it along and connect the dots, and that'll be my line for the stripes. And then I'll come back with masking tape and tape it off. But I'm gonna use only this tape measure, or if I decide to use a different tape measure, I'll go back and do all the measuring again. But probably this one will work. But I'm gonna use the same tape measure for all of it on both sides to try to be as consistent as possible. Here we are the next day. Truck is dry. One thing that I wanted to point out was up here, the distance from here to where I have the line is 8 1/4 inches. But if I want to keep the stripe on the same level as this pinstripe that's already here, back here it's only 8. So it does get shorter. I knew that it got shorter down at the bottom, the way it tapers up, but it also apparently tapers up here a little bit to get thinner here than it is toward the front of the bed. Alright, here we are the next day. Plan is to recoat the white again. Yesterday I kind of did 2 coats. I went over one side once, went to the other side, then I came back around to this side, went over it again, and same thing on the other side. So it kind of has 2 coats already, but I'm going to do one more coat on the white, and then I'll do one more coat on the blue. Yesterday was it was extremely windy, and I ended up with a lot of stuff stuck in the paint because it just got blown into it. So I'm gonna have to carefully try to get some of that out, or if it's not too bad, I'll just paint over it. I don't care. Anyway, I just want to get it done. Anyway, so that's the plan for today. So originally I was just using a rag with some alcohol to wipe it down, but I noticed that it was quickly filling up with pollen, and it was just spreading it around instead of actually picking it up. So now I'm using a microfiber towel to clean the pollen off first, and then I'll come back with the alcohol and rag to make sure there's no grease or oils on it. So yes, there was a little bit of bleed through or bleed under, or whatever you want to call it, and there did get some stuff in the paint. Well, that's right on top, but some stuff did get in the paint before it was completely dry, and but I'm not too concerned about it. I mean, if I wanted to do it professionally, I would have done it. I would have waited till I could have pulled it into the garage and taped off the area and you know, to prevent dust and everything. Put up those big plastic sheets to help prevent too much air circulating, and had filters on some box fans to filter out the air so that it didn't get more dust in there. And would have used a actual, you know, spray gun with an air compressor and everything, but I don't have an air compressor that can run a spray gun like that at the moment, and the garage is full of other stuff, so I didn't really want to wait to do this, so I just did it how I could. And I do like the results. I mean, don't get me wrong. I just there we go. I just you know, pointing out that, you know, if any of you out there in YouTube land are thinking about painting using rollers and everything, I mean, it did come out really smooth, but, you know, it's still going to be, you know, textured like this. So just be aware of that, and be aware of, if you do it outside in the spring, you're going to get pollen. Pollen is going to be your arch nemesis, but you are going to get other stuff in the paint. Just as a warning, if you try this, don't blame me if it doesn't turn out perfect. Anyway, so I'm gonna keep peeling all this off, and I'll bring you back once I'm done. Yeah. Well, my wife came out here and finished it for me. I kind of like it, but I don't think it'll last. Okay, everything's back together. I've got the windshield cowl back on. I've got the wiper blades back on. I've got the wheel well chrome accents back on. So it's all back together, except for the rubber gasket that goes around the windshield. I'm gonna put the stuff that I got on first to see if that fixes the leak before I put that back on. But anyway, it's all back together, and I think I'm going to call it for this episode. I still don't have the stencils yet to do the stars, and I'm still debating on whether I want to actually do stars on the hood or do like a larger design of some sort. I don't know. Anyway, but I'm gonna end it here because I'm already behind schedule on getting this video uploaded, so I'll edit it later and get it uploaded as soon as I can. And I mean, I'm happy how it turned out. It's not perfect, but it wasn't meant to be perfect. But it was cheap, and that's all I care about, really. Alright, so thank you for joining me. I'll make another video as soon as I can. Once I get the stencils in, I'll do a video on that, and then it'll be done. So thank you for joining me. If you have any comments, any advice, any suggestions, I'd appreciate you leaving it down in the comments below. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one.